No. Gareth,
hello, guys. For setting us up, Ross.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Everything's good.
Gareth, you there?
Yeah.
How's it, guys?
Yeah.
Thanks a million for joining, Gareth. It's good to see you again. And nice to see I'm not the only one growing a bit of a beard. You're going to call it the lockdown beard. I think it's the first time I've seen you with a bit of growth on the chin. Well done. Keep it up.
Taken many years to get to this point.
Yeah, we're not as bad on lockdown over here, so I managed to shave, but I haven't had a haircut in a while. So
it's normally me hiding underneath a cap.
Well, I don't know. I can't really use lockdown as an excuse for not shaving. I've had every opportunity to, but I'm using it as an excuse anyway. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to impress anyone. The horses don't mind because I can't see them at the moment, so it is what it is. So how's things going at the stables at the moment, Gareth? And I know we're under trying times. How are the horses?
Yeah. Look, things are going well at the yard. You know, there is good in the whole situation, in that you got two horses that do benefit from the time off. So there's quite a few of them that have done us with the time off. So yeah, you know, there are many jurisdictions around the world that you know have breaks from racing through the calendar year, and we used to going throughout. So you know, it's a little bit of a taste of what is common in different racing jurisdictions around the world. So yeah, obviously we hope that you know, we can get the ball rolling again, because financially there are not provisions for this situation.
Yes.
That's just press that we're trying to deal with. But yeah, going nicely, trying to keep the horses on the boil so that when we get the green light, we're ready to fire.
And the green light isn't official yet, because I see, you know, nominations are out and there's a race card for Kenilworth on, when's it, Friday, and then racing on Saturday, I think, at Turffontein. You've got a few noms out for Sunday at racing. I see nothing's finalised yet. So you're talking about the green light. Is it still a red light at the moment?
Yeah, it's a red light. We're trying to see orange in the red.
Okay.
So yeah, we're waiting for the official go ahead. It could have been today. It hasn't been. We're hoping it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thursday should be the latest that we know. If we don't know anything by Thursday, then yeah, we'll be sitting it out for a bit longer.
We've got to wait for stage 4 to go to stage 3, at least then.
Yeah, if not stage 2. So yeah, we're desperate to be categorized as agricultural, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, let's hold thumbs and hope for the best. You know, I know thank goodness for Facebook. I've been on Facebook a lot during this time. You know, just communicating with people, and you know, I've heard some people saying that you know, I know I've mentioned it, we're all in the same boat, and a couple of trainers, I think Wendy Whitehead, I'm sure she won't mind me mentioning her name, saying that we're not really in the same boat, and it kind of puts it into perspective. You know, we can say we're in the same boat, but there's Gareth going to bed at night worrying about the horses he's looking after, and worrying about the grooms, and worrying about the owners, if they're going to be able to pay at the end of the month, because obviously they're under certain restrictions. So, you know, the pressure on someone like yourself, because you're not just looking after your family like we're just looking after our family. You're looking after many other families and livestock and animals. So I think we need to, from this side, we need to appreciate that the level of responsibility and being in the same boat is not quite the same, you know. So from let's call it this side of the fence, I think there's a lot of respect and from the racing people for what the trainers and the jockeys are going through, and we certainly do wish that things do look up a bit, and basically we feel for what you're going through. We understand that there's a lot to go through. You're looking after a lot, and we hope that this really does come through. And while we're not all in the same boat, we're all in this together in some way or other. And I think that the the emotions and the generosity and the feedback that we have gotten from the racing fraternity in general, the jockeys and the trainers and the owners, the video messages, it has been absolutely incredible, unbelievable. And like I said to you on WhatsApp the other day, we really are blessed to be part of such an industry where we can communicate with each other. You know, if we were playing social cricket or tennis or stuff like that, we don't get to speak and associate with Rafa Nadal and the top, you know, Tiger Woods. That doesn't happen. But here in racing, you know, we can go up to Summerfeld and have breakfast with the guys and meet them and shake hands and nod. And the response that we've had from the racing fraternity, and I think Greg will agree with me, and everyone that's going to watch this will unanimously agree that we really are blessed by the feedback that we get and the love and the concern that we get from that side of the parade ring. And it doesn't go unnoticed, Gareth. And
yeah, what you do is greatly appreciated.
Yeah. And I think this comes from everyone in racing, and anyone who listens to this will definitely be agreeing and commenting, saying, you know, I mean, the feedback that we've had from the jockeys and doing the little jockey challenges and stuff like that. Some might think it's silly or crazy and all the rest, but you know, we're in lockdown. What else can we do? So people have been drinking the eggs and swallowing the sugar and having a shot of whatever they drink and sharing it on Facebook. And we get to see, I mean, just to show the bravery of jockeys. I don't think people understand how brave jockeys are, but I would never try and sing online and show my voice to the world because I cannot sing. But there, all these jockeys did that, the Feed the World song. And, you know, well done to them, you know, well done. And it was really brave and really inspiring. And thank you to all of the jockeys to do that. Sean Veal, you rock. I thought he really put his heart into it there. He really looked the part. As for Pierre Stradham, that golden mark of his, I don't know if he was in America's Got Talent, he would have got the golden wooden spoon or something. But you know, it takes a bit of character to put your voice to. You know, you can't sing, but you're doing it anyway. You're doing it for a cause. You're doing it for something. And much appreciated, much respect. And I've been enjoying the Facebook, honestly.
Nice.
Yeah, good.
So Gareth, are there any you know, horse? I'm sure all your horses are probably keen to get out and run by this time, you know, being locked up for so long. Are there any you know, that are keen, or have any had any setbacks recently?
Yeah, I've had one or two with setbacks. So, you know, as I mentioned, you know, the time sometimes playing into favor. You know, some horses you're looking to catch up with as well. So I've had one in particular coming off an injury, which you know, injury did relapse, and it's a career-ending thing. So unfortunately, that's the case for that filly. And one of my very nice 3-year-olds picked up a long-term injury. He'll be back, but unfortunately, you know, I was trying to prepare him for the features, for the particularly hoping to daily news, and yeah, he picked up a tendon issue, so that was a real terrible setback. So you know, there is pressure that's on the horses still at the moment. Obviously, you know, it's not full pressure, but it's enough to you know, be a threat to their well-being. So that's why, you know, we don't want to just keep them under pressure without knowing exactly when we're going to race, which is the tricky thing. So, you know, if we don't get the go-ahead for this weekend, I certainly will really have to consider taking the foot off the gas completely, because you know, you don't want to be picking up injuries unnecessarily.
Right. So you've got to rearrange your training schedule according to, you know, how the racing schedule is going to go too.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. There's always complications along the way. Gareth, I know the original point of this meeting was to discuss the July Handicap. I know already a lot of people are talking about fancies and what's your fancy for the July this season. At this stage, from what we know, the July is going to be run on the last Saturday of July. Is that correct? Is that what we're hoping?
Garth, I think that's right. Yeah, yeah, I didn't familiarize myself with the dates before chatting. I did look at it a while ago, and I do think that's right. Yeah.
Yes. Obviously, we don't have a runner in the July at all this year. Looking forward to the future and what comes up. But have you gone through the field at all? Any fancies? I think what I can do is, let me do a screen share. Yeah, can you? I've got to click OK or click share. There we go. Okay, I've got you guys in the top right-hand corner. You can see my screen, can't you?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, what I need to do is go out of there. I wish I could. I can. Hold on. There was something that was in my way. First of all, I think let's go to the betting on the July. Where are we? Let's go to Hollywood.
Why did you get there, Garth? Yeah, just to consider that, you know, there need to be a few things happen. A few things need to happen before, you know, we have a July. Let me put it that way. So
Correct.
I mean, we consider coming Saturday is the Oaks and I think it's the HF Oppenheimer Horse Chestnut Stakes and the Derby and that. And you know, there's no inter-provincial traveling, so no jockeys are able to go up for that meeting. Warren Kennedy loses the mount on Summer Pudding.
Correct. I believe Craig's exactly right.
Yeah, exactly. No horses. I had entered 2 horses on that card previously, before, you know, the lockdown was implemented, before the changes, and that opportunity was just taken away with regards to the current situation. So yeah, if we are categorized as a sport and left in what's the sporting world is left in stage 2 of lockdown, the chances of there being a July this year are minimal. So that's our real.
Wow.
Yes. I think I did consider that as well. You know, by talking about the July at this stage, I think we've been very optimistic and hopeful. But there's nothing wrong with being optimistic and hopeful, because
we must be. That's the only way to manage this thing well.
100%. And do you think maybe it's possible that the July handicap could actually become the August handicap? You know, would they consider running the July and August?
There is a line which will have to be drawn somewhere, so that they won't be able to just string it out indefinitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Much like the Kentucky Derby, it's been pushed to September now. It's just unusual. They should be running it this weekend.
Yes.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Sure.
You're still going to get me one of those glasses, Greg?
Yeah, I'm going to try to get everything I can that shows the May date on it.
We were talking last night on Zoom, Gareth, to keep you on. Sorry, Gareth, he was saying last night that every year they make tumbler glasses that you drink out of with the Kentucky Derby 2020 on it. And are you there?
And they always have the May date on it. So now that it's being run in September, if you get one of those glasses and hold on to it for 10, 15 years, it's going to be worth a lot of money.
Yeah, it's always going to be the Kentucky that never was.
Yeah, exactly.
But going forward, I mean, I'm looking at the betting of the July. A lot of people, you know, I don't want to step on anyone's toes or disrespect anybody or anything like that, but I see Hawam is still 4-1 favorite for this race, ahead of Rainbow Bridge at 11-2. And it's not like Hawam's done a lot wrong, but since they've sorted out the problem, I mean, now he goes down to the gates smoothly. He goes into the gates like a lamb, like everything's fine. But since then, he hasn't competed and he hasn't beaten the best of the best yet, you know. Do we think he's justified at favourite at 4-1 ahead of Rainbow Bridge at 11-2? Gareth, what's your take on Hawam?
As I see that, that's a bookie's price, a price that they can keep. I do think Hawam's a really good horse, but that's not a price that it would attract me as a potential punter here.
100%. I mean, we can go. I've done this. You can.
While we're on the subject of Hawam, there is a he's got a half brother that's kind of on the edge of the field, maybe Golden Ducat. That horse has shown some talent well, though.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, there's a horse I would look at as potentially a value horse. Yeah, from what I hear, the talk is that that wasn't a flash in the pan win in that Cape Derby, and that he could be the real deal. Okay, so there it was at 33.
It seemed like that race got him right again, like on the right track, because he was kind of faltering against mediocre competition there for a while, and then he just turned it around. Got a nice long stride to him too. I just thought that was an interesting one, to shift over from Hawam a little bit. That was that one's got a shot if he can make it in the field.
Yeah. God, I can't see it's here. I'm just making, there I can, yeah. So yeah, that is his first step up to 2,000 meters, and he loved it. So
he did it well, yes.
And definitely no flash in the pan. I wouldn't knock Golden Ducat.
Okay, I think I'll spot with there, Greg, because a lot of people are asking. We've got the obvious horses in the race, but if you look at the top 20 in the betting, what are the chances of those top 20 horses being in the actual race? The July traditionally they like to put in a horse that might have a chance. That's a bit of an unknown.
They do the thing with the Kentucky Derby. There are horses that used to get in that don't belong there.
Yes.
Now let's be honest. Some horses, they're just in different classes. Yeah. And they would just put it in there because people want to run in the Kentucky Derby. I'm sure it's the same for the July. Owners just want to try to get in there so they can have, I got a horse in the July.
I think that's exactly the case with this. And, just looking, I mean, it's an unknown sort. It's still got a lot to prove. But listening to you, Gareth, from what you say, if that wasn't a flash in the pan win there, and it was a grade one nonetheless, they raced for £1 million prize money. And he won by half a length. Eric Sands, you'll know how good this horse is. He's obviously going to be putting it up next to Rainbow Bridge. So if it does get in, it would be a good thing to look at the betting with this horse and who rides it, because he's got a perfect line to work this horse with. If this horse is giving Rainbow Bridge any sort of cheek at home, well, I think that's the information we really want to know, is how this horse is competing with Rainbow Bridge.
And how would it be to have all three half brothers in the race together? You got a Hawam, Rainbow Bridge, and Golden Ducat all out of heaven. That'd be amazing.
Be unbelievable, yeah.
But I was saying to Greg last night, we spoke quite in depth about this, and I did warn him last night that when we go through the July runners, he's going to be
high on Rainbow Bridge.
I'm going to be very bullish. I think if you put it this way, like they did the Grand National this year, Greg, Gareth, with the virtual reality. I didn't actually watch it. And I spoke to mate of mine, Craig, and he was saying what they did is they look at the horse's form and the ability and its previous races, and they've got to try and work out how the horse would run in a perfectly run race. Having said that, I believe that if they had to do that for this July, looking at the form, how the horses race, the horses that have beaten Rainbow Bridge, the horses that he's beaten, the races that he's been in, compared to the races or the other horses, okay, I cannot understand why this Rainbow Bridge isn't the most spoken about horse in the country right now for this race. Form line, he's done absolutely nothing wrong against the best of the best in the country.
He's as honest as they get, and he's the real deal. Let me ask you a question just to stimulate the conversation on that topic now. Is he at their best, is he a better horse than Do It Again?
At their best, no, I don't think so.
Okay. No. We do it
But
again.
he will give you a fight.
Okay.
He will. Yeah.
He didn't. He beat Do It Again in the Met. All right.
Yeah, Do It Again didn't pick for the Cape season. We did beat him there. Yeah.
Okay. And no disrespect to Do It Again. I love the horse. I just want to put his form out here. We can see it now. Do It Again's form is faultless. Okay.
Yeah.
Something we know about Do It Again.
The last couple races, they're just inexplicable.
Correct. That's what I want to get to, because Do It Again loves Greyville. He loves coming to Durban. He's done well. I mean, he's won the July Handicap twice in a row. And forgive me if you see me looking towards the right, but that's where you guys are on my computer screen. His last 3 runs, he's never run 3 races like that in his life before. And just watching him race, I hope I'm wrong, because this is a good horse, but I just get the feeling like, you remember Legal, as good as Legal One was, but when Legal stopped winning, just never really came back. And I don't know if sometimes a horse gets to the racetrack and says, you know something, I've beaten you all plenty times. I can beat you if I want. I've got nothing to prove. What am I doing here trying to beat you again? You know?
Well, that's the big question. Is he done or is he not? That's the big question.
That is the big question.
That's what it comes down to. And you know, for the public, it's very hard to say unless you know, that we can see something. As a betting person, it's hard to go and put money down not knowing anything as to, you know, the horse's well-being or where, you know, where he is as an individual. I can tell you, I see him at Summerfelt. I love looking for the big horses there. Yes. And he looks good. He, you know, he's not, you know, often I've been following Hong Kong racing in the break, and I went back a year or 2 and watched Pakistan Star, and you know, and it reminds me of Bravura. Also, often these geldings, when they get tired, they get sour. They don't want to go down to the start. They don't want to jump. They don't want to, you know, they do quirky things.
Yes.
I don't think Do It Again sour. I don't think he hasn't become a quirky type of a horse who doesn't want to, you know, do what he needs to do. I think if that was the case, Justin would probably have called it quits. But there's a reason why he's still going through the well, and he's a great champion trainer. And as you mentioned, the case factor also, you know, he's done well here, and there is that chance that he turns around and bounces back. I think there is that chance, but you know, look, I mean, you don't want to be banking on it. You don't want to.
Yes.
But you know, you want to sell your house on what you suppose. You want to see a little bit of something more. But you know, perhaps he goes and wins the drill hall in his comeback run. What are the odds? No, I don't know what the odds are, but on him. But they would certainly half, if not more.
Well, yeah, and that's what now too. You know, we think, okay, maybe he's soured. Those 2 races were at Kenilworth. Maybe, you know, he's won there. He's ran well there. Maybe he wasn't soured. He just didn't care for it. What if he gets back to Greyville and, you know, the lights go back on? All of a sudden, he's back to himself. Is that worth the difference between him and Rainbow Bridge? Rainbow Bridge is at 5.5 to 1, and you got to Do It Again at almost 12 to 1.
Yes.
You know, right now, is that a different? But you're still taking the chance of, okay, is it just that, you know, he gets back to Greyville and lights go on? You know, that's kind of the same aspect, I think, with Hawam, too. Is it, you know, he didn't prefer the surface at Kenilworth or the turn, you know, and he gets back to Greyville and you see the horse we know, you know, the best of him, or both of them.
You hit the nail on the head, and therefore, how can Hawam be 4 to 1 and Do It Again 12.5 to 1? It just doesn't make sense.
Exactly, and it doesn't make sense with the difference between even Rainbow Bridge and Do It Again. You know, being, like I said, Rainbow Bridge is 5.5 to 1, and Do It Again is 12.5 to 1.
Well, the bet on this screen, the bet you can go to the bank on this screen, if we run the July and you want to make money, is you take the fixed place on Rainbow Bridge, 14 to 10, as much as you want, and you know that horse is going to run in the first 4. Okay, look, you don't know anything of betting, but as far as playing it right, that would be the bet.
And funny enough, a chap on Facebook the other day, I mentioned it, and I won't mention his name right now because he might not appreciate it, or he will, I don't know. But he'll know who he is if he's listening to this. He mentioned that Rainbow Bridge, he might even put something like 50K on this horse for places because you can't see this horse running out of the first 4. Your only fear in doing something like that with money like that is that something goes wrong and it doesn't go in the race. I did my money on Hawaii last year, and it got scratched it almost went into the gate or got into the gate, and that's it. Money's gone. So you take that risk. But other than that, I think you've hit the nail on the head, Gareth. At 14-10 for a place to run in the first 4, Rainbow Bridge is, I think you mentioned the word just now, the hard knocker, He's ultra consistent. I can't understand why he's not favoured ahead of Hawaii. But I think this is maybe the bookmakers trying to feed off their top that Hawam's got. That if they haven't made enough money off Hawaii from being scratched, let's try to do it again.
Look, you could have got a refund last year. I don't know what happened there, but
no refund. No refund.
No refund.
They did not refund. Apparently, the rules have changed without anybody knowing. Mate of mine, Craig Pino, he used to work at the bookies. He was a manager there, and he told me, don't worry, you'll get your money back. As far as he knows, as long as you took the big bet anti-post, but as soon as the horse actually nominated for the race, and he's a runner, he's now a runner, so you get the same rules as any horse.
Oh, no, anti-post. Sorry, I understand. Yeah, anti-post. Yeah. Sorry, you mentioned the anti-post. Yeah, if you took anti-post, that's right. 100%. Sorry, I forgot about that. But if you took whatever the other, what do you call it? If it's once the fields have been confirmed and the draws, then you would have got a refund. Yeah.
Well, it was nominated. I mean, it went into the gates. It was there on the race day.
No, it depends which odds you took. So if you took anti-post, then you don't get a refund. But if you took the betting that was that had come out after the fields had been finalized and that, then you would have got your refund.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure about all of that. I was told I would get my money back, and I know there was quite an uproar about it. But at the end of the day, my philosophy is, if it's in the rules, then that's right. I didn't know the rules. So I think a lot of people have been quite outspoken about it. And at the end of the day, I think the responsibility to know the terms and conditions and rules is up to us. And, we can fight about it all we want. But if the rule says it's scratched and you don't get a refund, well, that's what the rule is. And you've got to respect that. So anyway, that's in the past. But I think going forward, Rainbow Bridge, I think I talk about what I say. If we look at this horse's runs, you can see the screen there, Gareth. You see his last run where he won, he beat Socrates.
You've got the betting on at the moment, Garth.
Okay, I've changed the screen, so maybe it still hasn't changed on your screen yet. I've changed it to...
Yeah.
Okay, you can see it now. Now, his last 3 runs was coming off a rest. So his first run after a rest, and remember, Rainbow Bridge has competed against nothing but the best in the country. He won his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He won his first 5 starts. And after that, the word was out. Everybody knew that this wasn't a normal racehorse. This was going to go places, this horse, okay? Came 4th against Legal against Greenpoint Stakes, Grade 2. Then it came 2nd to Do It Again, or 3rd to Do It Again in the Queen's Plate. And then it won, a little while after that, it won didn't it win the Met. I've just got confused when I saw the word mum there. That was the new sponsors. It won the Met, it beat Do It Again. That's when this horse showed that Eric Sands wasn't lying when he said this horse is a champion. This horse can beat the best of the best. It got beaten by Do It Again in the July. At the end of last year's July season, it won without Do It Again, it beat Socrat over 1,800 meters. We know how good Socrat is. He's top class. In fact, if that race was over 1,600 meters, Socrat won that race. It was only the fact that it was 1,800, a bit further. Rainbow Bridge beat a top miler like Socrat. Then given a break from the 7th to the 12th. First race, I think, was of a mile, the Greenpoint Stakes, a grade 2. Third behind Vardy, 2 lengths. First run over after a rest, 1,600 meters. Not his ideal distance, not at all. More Vardy's ideal distance, and got beaten well by a horse that was ready to win at the time, and a good horse. Then again in the Queen's Plate, he got a bit closer to Vardy, 1.3 lengths, still a distance short of his best, second run after a rest, and ran a good race. In top company, they, you know, the best horses in the country were in that race. Okay, second run after rest, still short of his best distance. Then 2,000 meters. Vardy's in the same race, but now the first time Vardy goes to 2,000 meters, does Vardy go the distance or not? Well, we don't know. You know, I'm sure the trainer, Vardy is Adam Marcus, am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sure Adam Marcus would be able to tell us more about Vardy going 2,000, 2,200. But what we can see on paper, the first time Vardy goes to 2,000, I think he came 5th in that race. Let me find it. We'll get it over here. Vardy came 6th. Okay, to One World.
It could have, and that could have, I mean, you can go either way, though, with Vardy. He's already outrunning his, you know, as far as breeding, I think he's outrunning his distance limitations anyways. You know, horses from time to time do that. What if it was it's the difference of, oh, yeah, we took him, you know, the 10 furlongs or whatever. Yeah, he didn't run so well the first time. Maybe he just needed a warm-up. Maybe he goes that distance again and you get a different horse.
Okay, now, there's my point. It's maybes and question marks with Vardy.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Another maybe and question mark with Vardy is he's only ever raced at Kenilworth. Now, there's a big difference between a horse going on a left-hand track and a right-hand track. You remember when we had Clarewood? Yeah, horses ran at Clarewood or they ran at Greyville and Scottsville. And horses that like Clarewood, they like the left-hand track. Horses that didn't like Clarewood was because they prefer to go around a right-hand track. Can Vardy go 2,200 meters, which is an extra 200 meters from the 2,000? And we go back to Vardy's form here. I don't know if you can see it on your screen as yet. Horses got brilliant form. You cannot fault it. But the very first time it goes beyond, okay, 1 over 1,800. You can see it beat One World by 2 lengths, 2.25 lengths over 1,800. So that suggests that 2,000 maybe shouldn't be too far. But there were only 4 or 5 horses in that race that day. And One World was 15-10 favorite. So maybe we need to look at that race. I didn't actually pull that race out to see what the pace of the race was like. But now we're going around a right-hand track for the first time. So that's another question mark, all right? And as you go through every horse in the bet team, besides the ones that we don't know about, like Golden Ducat, you know, Queen Supreme, Summer Pudding, they fillies, they could be anything. You know, Queen Supreme's not a bad filly. Summer Pudding, not bad. Oh, but are they good enough to beat this caliber of horse yet? You don't know. You were talking about Silver.
Well, the weight factor in the July does make things interesting. I'm not sure we're yet familiar with that, and closer to the time, I think we'll be able to dissect that when weights are published, and that obviously also influences betting. But generally, if you think approximately, you know, how it should go, you know, if you can find a 3-year-old filly, I'm talking Summer Pudding. If you fancy Summer Pudding, I don't know what would you come in with. You know, a 3-year-old filly should be well weighted. Then you'd say a 3-year-old colt, and so on from there. You know, your likes of Rainbow Bridge, Do It Again, they should be pegged. Even Vardy, I don't know if he'll receive much more than a kilo from them, although he beat them at weights in the Met, but they'll be pegged at the top. So the handicapping does come into play with the July, which is a consideration too.
I think, having said that, I mean, can you remember what I think Igugu, when Igugu won the July, carried 55 or 55 and a half?
I think it was 55 and a half. That sounds right.
55 and a half. Now, you think 55 and a half, that's a lot of weight for a 3-year-old filly to carry. And I remember when Igugu ran, I still made that the best bet in racing history, not just in the July Handicap. I mean, I actually argued with so many people about that horse, telling me I never had a chance. And Julie came and won. We certainly can't put Summer Pudding or Queen Supreme in the same sentence as Igugu at this stage. Summer Pudding is still a bit unknown, unbeaten. Summer Pudding's unbeaten, am I right?
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yes, unbeaten. So how good is this horse? We don't know. So it could be good enough to carry 55 and a half, but and this is exactly the point I'm getting to, which is why I always go back to Rainbow Bridge. All right. Every other horse, there are genuine question marks that will prevent you from saying, listen, I'm going to make this a banker on the day. Whereas I think there's enough evidence on Rainbow Bridge's form line. Vardy, Vardy's beaten him two of the last three starts, and his first 2 runs back from being on a rest, okay? Now Vardy's got to go around the right-hand track, go 2,200 meters. We don't have that problem with Rainbow Bridge at all. And now One World isn't even in the race. He's been beating Do It Again in his last few races. He's been beating Hawaii. So just
right. And the only peg back I see on Rainbow Bridge, and we talked about it yesterday, is for some reason or another, he doesn't like to win much. He's always getting second. Yeah, he wins his share of races, but against that big competition. And the last one, the Met, had a beautiful ride. Ryan Moore rode that horse beautifully. Couldn't have been in a better spot, and he still didn't get it done.
Yeah, I think just
he's starting to sound like Do It Again, or are they going to crank him back? Is he going to be cranked back up, come July Day?
Well, I think, if you look at One World was no slouch. And if I can find One World's form line,
he was on that was his best race ever. I mean,
he's not in the July. But see, One World was a good hard knocker, especially if you look at, let's go to Vardy. Okay. One World was always either coming second or beating Vardy. Okay.
Vardy, yeah.
So it was no big surprise. And obviously on the day, One World was the horse to beat there. We didn't know that. The price was good. And he was going to win no matter what he was up against. And as far as I look at it, his Rainbow Bridge was just got unlucky that he came across One World on that day that was ready to win, and no one was going to beat One World. And then when Rainbow Bridge was getting beaten by Do It Again, no one was beating Do It Again. But all the horses that were beating him, we've got reasons. There's question marks about them. And this is the one horse that stayed consistent. So all his competitors that have been beating him, well, he's kind of got to be, he's ready to beat them now. Looking at it on paper.
Yeah, and that could be the case. And like I said, that is the only check against Rainbow Bridge. He's got a lot of positive checks.
Yes.
He's going to be there. And the price at 5-1, you can't beat that.
It's ridiculous. 11-2, 14-10 for a place. And also, Gareth, like I say, in the way this horse races, the July, there's a lot of scrimmaging, bad luck stories. I mean, if there isn't a bad luck story after the July, then it obviously wasn't the July Handicap. There's always going to be, interference or something that went wrong, and a jockey saying that I could have won the race if this didn't happen or that didn't happen. The way Rainbow Bridge runs, when the gates open, that horse jumps and goes. And you can literally put that horse anywhere you want. If you want him to be 3 lengths off the pace, wherever, and all the trouble is going to be happening behind him. So when it comes to luck and running, the chances of luck and running interfering with Rainbow Bridge, I would say are slim, because the horse will come out the gates, no problem. It will fly out the gates, and it's just down to jockeyship. You know, this horse, I think, needs a horse with a rider with quiet hands that can get him to settle and say, listen, you can use your pace, but don't fight with me about being here. Just relax and be 3 lengths off the pace instead of fighting me for the whole race. And that's exactly what Ryan Moore did brilliantly in the last race. He took the fight out of the horse from just relax and use your energy to the end. And, you know, he's had good jockeys riding him. Gavin Arena, Anton Marcus, Richard Fourie. I'm still taking a bet Anton asks for this ride. But whoever rides him, you're going to have a good jockey on him, going to settle him up front, and whatever bad luck goes on in the race is going to happen behind this horse. That's the way I picture it. And yeah, I know we still got a long way. Gareth, I see you've been very quiet there, thinking quietly.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So, Gareth, do you, you know, looking at the list, are there any outsiders that really intrigue you?
Can you put the betting up on the screen again, Garth, just so I can have another look?
Let me know when it comes through. I think
okay.
Can you see it now?
Okay. Yeah. You mentioned there's a horse that I don't think we've seen the best of yet. I think she's still an improving type of a filly.
Who's that?
Or mare now. Queen Supreme.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, her last pretty flat. The one out there in Kenilworth. Yeah, that was a flat race for her.
A lot of the horses that stayed there. Yeah, I think she won and then she ran a flat one. Is that I stand corrected? A lot of horses that stayed there had a flat second run in the Cape season.
I noticed
it was interesting to see. Yeah.
Let me go to Supreme and look at her form. I like Queen Supreme, you know. Is it still a filly, 4-year-old? They're still fillies at 4, right?
Yeah,
May. Okay, so 3-year-old, 4. So she's.
I stand corrected, and it says filly there. If 5 years old, they become mares. Thanks, God. Sorry,
that's correct. That's correct. This is a good horse. I remember when it ran at that big race in Joburg, that Zul one, it came 4th. I gave this horse a Summer Cup, that's right. I gave her a serious chance, a big chance of winning that race. And, you know, 1.6 lengths behind against the boys in Grade 1 company, first time in a Grade 1. That was a good run. Then the very next race in a Grade 1 at Kenilworth, she won at Kenilworth, 2.5 lengths over 1,800 meters. Maybe what led her down is that the last time she raced was over 1,600, because maybe she's so good, she's wanting more than 1,600. She wants that 1,800, 2,000 meters.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. And look at the field. I mean, that was just a really tough field she just ran against as well. Yeah. It wasn't the light field she had in the races before that. But yeah, I think looking at the distance, that could have been, an explanation for her being flat like that too. But also I did notice a lot of horses that were out in the Cape that second run just didn't, for some reason, they were just flat.
That's
100%.
Might be the
and well, to segue to that, there's another one on the list down there that kind of falls in the same category, Silver Host. That really interests me. He looked amazing his penultimate race, and then just fell flat. They moved him he won the Group 3, went to the Group 1, and just fell flat in that. And there was no explanation. That race that Golden Ducat won. And but I think this one, I know Justin Snaith had reported on his Facebook page, and this was a while back, that there was a slight injury. So I don't know how the training's going, if he's back in training or if he's, in full training or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think he could make a serious run if he starts coming forward, if he moves forward.
Well, I think we can talk about these horses for a long time, just looking at the time here now. One thing For sure. We've got some good racing to look forward to if racing goes ahead, because we're going to have to see horses like this running and see how they run. I've been very bullish on Rainbow Bridge, but, you know, how's he going to come back after the break? I know everyone's at the same break, but every horse takes it differently. So how are the horses going to take the break, come back? What's Rainbow Bridge going to do in his next race? How's Do It Again going to run in the Rainbow? Do It Again comes in, like you say, wins over 1,400 meters and beats Rainbow Bridge in the same race. Then that definitely throws a cat amongst the pigeons. So I think there's a lot of good racing to look forward to, and make even the cleverest of people in the game look silly. And not saying that I'm one of those people. I'm probably more one of
that's the reason they run the races, right?
But yeah, Gareth, I think we've got a lot to look forward to and a lot to hope for. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
And let's hope that next year, once we've gone back to normal, even if there is a new normal that they're talking about, whatever that's going to be, let's hope we've got a runner in the July, or at least something that we can compete with in the July, because that's what I'm really looking forward to, seeing Gareth Van Zyl's name in the July Handicap, just as a runner.
That'll be the day.
and Greg, we want you here for the July. So obviously this year the plans have gone awry. But let's make a plan that 2021, the 3Gs are at the July together.
Well, hopefully things lighten up enough so that I see you guys for 2020 Breeders' Cup.
We want to be there like a bear, absolutely. Yeah. I was actually quite happy and impressed when I spoke to Gareth about wanting to go to the Breeders' Cup, and he looked at me, his eyes sparkled up. I know Gareth loves to get on an airplane and hop across the continent, and he said, I'm going as well. I said, well, let's do it. We've got something to do. So, Gareth, yeah, if we give up hope and we think it's impossible and it's not going to happen, well, then you might as well put a bullet in my head, because I'm not giving up hope. We're going to be at the Breeders' Cup, and we're going to make videos. We're going to make memories of it, and let's do it.
Kingland here, and I assure you, I've been there. That is the most beautiful track there is. Nothing but Kentucky bluegrass and stallion farms, as far as you can see.
That's a must.
Yeah. I don't know if they might even run sales that week. I don't know. They usually, you know, they have the big like September yearling sale, and then they teeter off and have a few like weekly sales or something here and there. But that's one thing I'd really want to go to the sales ring there and see what that's like. You know, the best horses in the world come out of that place.
Yeah.
No offense, guys.
Gareth, quickly before we close, should racing go ahead on the weekend? Okay. Yep. And your runners are going. I've just gone through your nominations that you had here. Race 1, you got a time. Race 2. You didn't have anything in race 1. Race 2, you nominated a time to remember. If racing goes ahead.
I got Fenici.
Sorry?
Race 1, I've got Fenici.
Fenici, that's right. Why didn't that come up here? I remember Fenici. Where's Fenici? Oh, there we go. There's Fenici. That's right. Fenici, race 1. It's a juvenile plate. He won by 4.4 lengths last time. Must be a big runner. Is he a big runner? Sorry.
Yeah, look, that I had a look at the entries of that race. It could well be a group type of a race there. I mean, you got Jean Canama's filly. That was the star of, you know. Oh, look, I'm not sure that. Yeah, she did win the feature. So yeah, she was the star 2-year-old filly of the season in Cape Town. Okay. So yeah, she'll be the one to beat. But a couple of hotties in that field. And Fenici, I would like to say, is a hottie as well. So you know, we're all looking forward to seeing how good our 2-year-olds are, especially those that have come out and shown, which Fenici has done. Having said that, I've obviously prepared her, to hoping to run, but at the same breath, knowing that there's a good chance we don't. So, she's going to come on with the run, if we do race on Sunday, and ultimately, hopefully, peak at the Allen Robertson.
Okay, so it is a race to you know, we don't know who's the best yet, and that's what racing's all about. Let the race tell us what the story is on each horse. Race 2, you've got a time to remember.
I would caution you that, for example, the form in that race on Sunday, if it's run, I wouldn't expect it to hold up the same if the same horses met again in a month's time, and they're all gonna have a couple lengths improvement to make.
Okay.
You know, and some will be a bit more precocious, some will need less work than others, and will just come out, you know, hotter than others for the same amount of work. I mean, each individual athletes. So, yeah, just a thought. Sorry.
Okay, we'll take that on merit then. Great. Race 2, you've got a time to remember, 2-year-old colt by Time Thief. Not a bad barrier trial.
Yeah, look, not preferable to have a 2-year-old in open company so early in the season.
Yes.
But I'll put him in there as a possibility because, you know, we're going to have to run horses where we can when we resume racing. So it's not going to be a matter of picking and choosing the right race all the time. So maybe a point to start him at. He drew terribly, so we might have to reconsider our options. But yeah, not a definite run at this stage.
Okay, great. And then race 4, you got Perfectly Putt. I know you like this race. This horse, I think the time when came second when Donovan Dillon rode it. Then he came 6th. I think when he came second, he was a bit unlucky as well, wasn't he?
Not really. He ran a good race. I think he found one better on the day, but yeah, he's probably best over a mile on the poly. However, again, I'm not going to be looking to run them in the perfect race as you know, I had always been doing or mostly been doing. You know, we're going to have to run where we can and hope sometimes to get lucky. There is, however, a mile on the poly about 2 weeks later, so there is a chance he runs in both. It is a strategy of mine. In the back of my mind, you know, with the reduction of stakes, with those horses that perhaps are sound and able to run a little bit more often, perhaps to back them up a little bit sooner, and in third doing maybe try and earn a bit more stakes money by running and earning more often as well. So yeah, just a thought there.
Okay, great. So that's Perfectly Putt. And then Candy Galore. Love the name, love this horse. And nice surprise last time, beat your dad's horse, Wiz of Odds. Bit sad with the passing of, what was that other horse you had in the race?
Yeah, Smiley Kylie, devastating.
Smiley Kylie, yeah, shame. So it was that race. Also over 1,000 meters, but it's got a few decent horses to beat in this race if they get nominated. How do you see this race?
Yeah, look, Candy Galore is just battling to get a draw at Greyville. It's really tough to be drawn out there over 1,000 meters at Greyville.
Yes.
One horse that's done very well with this break. So yeah, Warren will ride her if racing goes ahead, and you know, just hope to get a little bit lucky from that draw. But it really is a disadvantage over 1,000 meters. But as I say, she's doing really well.
She's doing well, so she's definitely, put it this way, won't be surprised if she wins, but not disappointing if she comes second, third, or fourth. So she'll be
would be a surprise if she won. It would be a surprise, but not a surprise if she ran a place. I'm ultimately just trying to get some black top with her.
Okay, great. And then Horoscope Harry, nice fluent winner last time out. Won another that 0.7. I think it won a little bit better than that 0.7 there. Could he follow up? Will he be in the race? Are you happy with the progress? Obviously, the draw's not so great either.
Yeah, 1,200 you can get away with it a bit more. Last time he was drawn poorly over 1,200, and it worked out right. Albeit thanks to Apprentice on his inside taking out half the field, but he'll probably run. I'll just double check the program to see if there aren't any other options, you know, in the near future. But he's a progressive type. He's definitely a progressive type. You know, when you think of it, he's got to be one of the better 3-year-old sprinters in KZN at the moment. you know, that they're relatively unexposed with regards to feature race level, but having raced 6 times, won 3 of them, you know, he's one of the, you know, progressive 3-year-old sprinters around. Okay, Captain Demonami, I think it is, beat him. And I think he's a 3-year-old as well, so I don't know, maybe, you know, he comes to mind. But yeah, what I'm trying to say, progressive horse, definitely. And no, yeah, I think he's still got scope for improvement.
Brilliant. Well, Gareth, thank you so much for your time. I know you're going to be at the track early in the morning, and it's already just after 9 o'clock now. We're keeping you up. So, yeah, much thanks and much respect, and many thoughts are out with all the trainers out there. Just keep on doing your best, and I hope to be up at Summerfeld soon and helping out and back to normal. But up until then, go well, stay safe, and love to everyone, and just keep the flag flying high. Our thoughts are with you, my man.
We're cheering for you from over here in America, that's for sure.
Thanks so much, and no, appreciate it. It's really wonderful that you know, you mentioned earlier in introducing the conversation how, you know, you enjoy the fellowship in racing, and that's what we enjoy too. So to have this community in racing, it just brings us together and makes it so much more enjoyable when we weren't able to enjoy and share our successes. It's not too much fun winning alone. That kind of defeats the object of it. So yeah, thanks so much, Greg. We look forward to meeting you and shaking your hand one day.
Soon, hopefully. I gotta see this, guys. This thing has been sparing. We're done, right? So this has been smelling it the whole freaking time we've been sitting here.
What's that? You're gonna have your meal now.
Oh yeah.
No, you can't do that. I have to eat a pie. Look at this man.
I've been sitting here talking with you guys and just trying to go over and grab a fry or something, but I couldn't help it. So I'm gonna eat now.
You're gonna eat. I'm gonna press. Where do I press stop?
That's from Five Guys, or where's that from, Greg?
No, it's Rallies. 5 Guys, and it looks about like that when you get it from 5 Guys too. Next time I go there, I'll send you a picture.
Oh, awesome! Well, you enjoy that.
Yeah,